The following footage that you see in this video is not mine.
How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be covering part 2 of my video on the triple jump at the South American Indoor Championships in Athletics 2025. Make sure you like this video if you want to see something like this again, and subscribe as well. So with that, let's get started. We're going to start it off with Doniquel Werson of Suriname. He has a personal best of 15.88. I'll also be covering him in the long jump in a later video. So this is his first, or this was his fifth attempt, I believe. It's either his fourth or fifth. I'm pretty sure it was his fifth. So he drives up, first of all, a right leg knee drive because his left leg is taking off, just like I have. His free leg is not straightened, however, which is bad. His arms are moving in a high rear position as he goes into the first thrust landing. Then he lands in. Then he drives up for his step phase, arms moving in unison. And then he reaches out. And then the last phase, his arms are also moving in a high rear position here. He almost looks like he collapses there, don't you think? As you can see, his leg is bent, but he didn't collapse. But then comes probably one of the more controversial parts that I've seen in long jump. A lot of people said that I should that I should be landing on my feet. However, doing this is actually better than just landing straight on your feet. Even though he's landing on his butt, God bless his back, he is still getting more distance than if he just landed on his feet, because he's hitting the ground later than if he would land on his feet. However, as I said before, God bless his vertebrae, that is not a safe way to land. You don't want to have a passive landing like he does. You want to actually curl into that. And so that resulted in 15.24. Now we go to Almir dos Santos of Brazil. He has a personal best 17.53. He's normally a right-right-left jumper, but he's a left-left-right jumper in the 2020s. He'll also be in the next episode of the case study. Look, it's not just going to be Quincy Briel on there, so if you want to see more of those videos, make sure to subscribe. We're getting close to 50 subscribers, so I will be grateful if you did. So now let's take a look at his technique. The quality is not really that good, so I can't really tell what's happening. I believe he's driving up his arms. I can see through the GoPro. And then his leg is not really getting straightened, kind of like what we saw with Werson of Suriname. However, it's a much better technique here. He drives up here. I mean, that's just clockwork. His arms moving from a high rear position, leg swings through for the step phase. That's usually his weakness. High rear position. And so then he actually keeps his leg straight instead of driving the knee up and then straightening the leg. And then he almost looks like Michael Jordan in this position, about to dunk a basketball. His arms are still moving in unison, legs go together, textbook position, goes into the sand, and clears it for 16.39. Much better than what we saw with Werson. Now we have our next athlete, Helber Melgarejo of Argentina, the second Argentina athlete in this competition. He also was in the long jump, just like Werson. And I'll cover that in a later video. So next up we have Melgarejo. I'm repeating myself. So first up we have his drive up. He's a left-footed triple jumper. He drives up off the board. A nice position there. That's the best one I've seen so far, other than Torrealba's single arm technique that he used. So then he drives the leg up. Not as good there. A lot like Diaz, his teammate. So then he lands with his arms really in that high rear position. And he goes into a step phase. Arms moving in unison. Just powers through that. And then he goes to the last phase. Leg swings through, arms high rear. And then he gets a really high last phase. Reminds me a little bit of Mike Conley on how he's a good triple jumper and long jumper. So he lands with that he has a good extension and then lands right where his heels contacted. That's what you want for the triple jump. You don't want to be over-rotating like Diaz or under-rotating like Werson. Man, I'm just throwing Werson way under the bus. So now we have our last competitor, Elton Petronilho of Brazil. He would end up winning gold on this jump. So let's go take a look at his technique. He starts off, drives up the arms. He's a right-footed triple jumper. And then he gets a nice pose position. And then as you can see, it's straightened and relatively relaxed. His arms are a little bit uncoordinated because they're moving in opposite directions. And so then he stretches out, arm in a high rear position. And just as I said before, his technique reminds me a bit of Victor Sanier of Georgia, 3-time Olympic champion. As he drives up. Oh yeah, that especially reminds me of Saniev. And then he has his arms in the high rear position, and lands, swings through, and then he goes up into the last phase. His technique also reminds me a bit of Almir dos Santos. Looks like he's dunking a basketball. So then he goes into his textbook position, and then he lands right where his heels contacted. And that was for 16.52. That was the winning distance. So here are the results from the triple jump. 9th place we have Mauricio Rivera of Bolivia, 14.37. 8th we have Santiago David Theran, Colombia, 15.47. 7th place we have Doniquel Werson Suriname, 15.64. 6th place Maximiliano Diaz, Argentina, 15.79. Helber Melgarejo is 5th from Argentina, 15.81. Luis Reyes of Chile, 15.86 in 4th. 3rd place Leodan Torrealba, 16.05 for Venezuela. 2nd place Almir dos Santos, Brazil, 16.39, and then Elton Petronilho of Brazil comes first, 16.52. Well, this is now getting lengthy. Well, thank you all for watching this video. Make sure you leave a like if you want to see this video again. Subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 50 subscribers, so that would be greatly appreciated. So apart from that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. That one's just a bail there.